the best Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 settings for multiplayer. I'll be going through absolutely everything in my settings that I am running right now, and at the end I will show you exactly for what to do for max FPS settings, aka competitive settings for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. That's it for the intro, so let's get right into it. For keyboard and mouse, I am running 1600 DPI at 2.45. All sensitivity is straight across 111. For sensitivity, you always want to keep it at ones. You don't want to varying it, because as soon as you start varying it, you got to learn new sensitivities and angles and stuff like that. So always keep your multipliers, everything on 1. Sensitivity transition time, gradual, but it's at 1 anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. Again, multipliers, all 1s across the board. Over here, there isn't much anything else left. So we'll go with the gameplay. I keep most of it on default. Crouch behavior, toggle, prone toggle, everything is toggled. The only thing that I changed is in the advanced movement setting, put your walk speed to fast. You will notice a huge difference. Default, I believe it's slow. And as soon as you set it to fast, even moving and shuffling side to side, you'll be moving a lot quicker in the game, which will make you a lot harder to hit as a target. Everything else, again, you know, 1s across the board and default. Aim down sight behavior, hold, change zoom. Most of it, like I said, I read the rest of this, I just have it on default. I'm going to scroll through so you can take a look at it. Over to keybinds, there's, again, I keep majority of my stuff default. There's only a couple of things I change, which is I put the melee button on my mouse 5, which is a side button, so I can melee quicker as I'm swinging my mouse instead of having to reach over on my keyboard or get off my movement keys. Same thing for lethal. I want to be able to throw my lethal equipment as I'm running and turning and moving, which is just click down the middle mouse button. Ping, I don't even have it on because I don't ping shit. I just call it out. And then the voice chat, I have it again, push to talk on the side in case I need to use push to talk in game. I don't have to move my fingers off my movement buttons. I can just move my mouse around, press number 4 on my mouse. Controller, I don't use a controller. I'm on PC, so you'll probably know more than I do about controller settings. So let's go ahead over to display. First thing I can tell you right away is full screen exclusive. A lot of people with multiple monitors will run full screen borderless. It's great, you know, it's awesome. It's easier for you to swap it between screens, but it does add some input lag. So full screen exclusive is always better. My display adapter or my GPU is NVIDIA RTX 3090, as you can see, with the 360 refresh rate. Here's the benchmark for my settings. It's showing a little bit lower in game, depending on the map. I usually get anywhere from 180 upwards to 220 frames per second. If you want to try my settings, try them out. If you want more competitive settings, I will give you them at that. My display resolution is 1920 by 1080. I know a lot of people are switching over to 1440p, but for me, the frames are better than a little bit of sharper image. And I play on a 24.5-inch monitor, and I am very happy with it. I have no desire to switch it over to 1440p as of yet. Dynamic resolution off, aspect ratio automatic. VSync, all the menu, all the VSync stuff, I keep it off. Custom frame rate limit is unlimited. Brightness is going to depend on your monitor. For me, it ended up being 50. Dynamic range, whether you want to run it or not, it's up to you. If your monitor supports it, mine is set to automatic. For quality presets, custom resolution 100. This is a very important one to have. It's going to let you see enemies a lot easier. Fidelity CAS or CAS, whatever you want to call it, put it to 100. And these, again, are my settings on an RTX 3090. So depending on the GPU, you will might have to adjust some stuff to get more frames out if you like, or just run the competitive settings. I will give you at the end. Anti-aliasing, filmic SMA T2X, ultra quality, video memory scale 85. That's what it was default. I never ended up switching it. Texture resolution, I like textures always on high. Texture filtering, normal. Nearby details, high. Distant details, how often are you running around and looking at details far out in the distance? So I just set it to low. Clutter draw distance, long. Particle quality high, particle quality level high, bullet impacts and sprays on, shader quality medium, tessellation all, terrain memory max, on-demand texture streaming on, streaming quality normal, volumetric quality high, deferred physics quality high, water caustics, lights and rays produced at the bottom of the ocean. I have it on just because it looks a lot prettier, but honestly, you could turn it off and I doubt you'll even notice a big difference, because how often are you really in the water? Shadow map resolution normal, because once again, as long as the shadows are there so you can see the enemies, other than that, how often are you running around the map looking at how pretty the shadows are? Screen space shadows high, shadow quality high, spot cache ultra, particle lighting normal. Particle lighting can have huge frame drops, so if you're noticing stutter when explosions and things like that going off, make sure you set it to lowest possible setting. That might fix it for you because particle lighting is very hard to render in. This is a big one. Make sure your ambient occlusions are off. That's what kind of blinds you in the game and blurs stuff out as soon as the sun is around, so make sure it is off. Screen space reflections high, static reflections high, weather grid volumes high, NVIDIA reflex low latency on, and boost is what I should have had. It is now. I didn't realize it was just on, but you wanted it on a boost. Depth of field always off regardless if you're console PC. World motion blur off. If you play with motion blur, yes, it looks prettier, but it's kind of gross. Weapon motion blur, same thing, off. Film grain to 0. View, field of view, I run it at 120 with affected. Weapon default, weapon field of view default. Third person, I haven't played third person, so I don't play third person. I haven't played third person, so I got no suggestions there. I probably set it to higher. Once again, probably close to 120. Camera movement, make sure you set it to least. That is your sway and movement as you're running around. You want it as low as possible. For audio mix, I'm running headphone bass boost because I like the bassiness, and I find in this case specifically the bassy sounds for footsteps and everything lets you hear enemies a lot easier. Master volume is set to 80 because this game is hella loud, and even when I turn Discord all the way up, it is still, this game ends up overpowering everybody on Discord and everything else that's going on in the background. So I run it at 80, and then I just adjust the volume as I need to. Music 0 because you don't want any of the in-game music. The last, you know, when you gotta clutch it up, the music kicks in and you can't hear shit. Dialogue volume, voiceover radio, we will put that to 70 because we don't want it too loud. Effects volume, we can keep that. Hit marker volume. So for sound device, this is your output device. Make sure you set the correct output. I have a Go XLR, so I have lots of channel options. For you, make sure you select the right one for yourself. Subtitles, I don't know who uses subtitles. Voice chat on, all lobby. Again, here's a big one. Make sure you select the correct microphone for your headset. A lot of people will have it at default and you will select the wrong mic and you will get both your game audio and your microphone going through the voice chat volume, so it sounds like you got crazy echo and everybody in the lobby is going to be roasting you. So make sure you do select your correct microphone in here. I run push to talk. Voice chat, again, push to talk is mouse 4, so I can aim, move around, and talk at the same time. Voice chat volume, my already microphone, everything's dialed in, so these will be very dependent on your microphone and your settings. Juggernaut music on. Usually I have it off, but on just because, you know, it sounds cool. Hit marker sound, Modern Warfare, because they're just ASMR, they're satisfying in this game. Mute game when minimized off, reduced tinnitus sounds on. Then we go over to interface. Over here, everything is default. The only thing that we change is the color customization for the enemy color. You want the set brightness 100, saturation maxed out, and put it to pink. I tried red for a while and I still found there's times where it's kind of hard to see, even with the max saturation on red, it's hard to see them. So pink seems to be a lot better because it's just a little bit brighter. Everything else is fairly default, but I'll scroll through so you can take a quick little peek. I'm not sure if there's still crashing issues with the parallax effects. If it is, if you have crashing issues, try turning it off. It might fix it, but it's not a guaranteed fix. I have mine off since the crashing issues were happening. I haven't had a reason to turn it back on, and I really didn't notice a difference, so might as well keep it off. For account and network, you can import your Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 settings if you'd like. And as I'm scrolling through, I just realized that in Call of Duty, we can only block 200 players. So if you come across more than 200 cheaters or racists and you try to block them, you're pretty much shit out of luck. Make sure you have your dismemberment and gore effects on for, you I already know why. And profanity filter, I have it on because, again, I'm streaming, so you want at least some kind of decency in the chat. Hop back over to interface real quick. If you go over to telemetry and you click show more, it will give you the little pop-up so you can pull up your counters and things like that. Personally, I run the FPS counter, server latency, and the packet loss because I feel like those are the three most important. Your GPU temperature, time, and VRAM usage, all the clocks and everything. I find, if your GPU temperatures are good, they are gonna be good. And if your GPU ends up throttling or you find you're having issues, that is when you want to turn them on and kind of keep an eye on them to see what they're doing. If they are the issue or if it's your CPU is the issue. Other than that, there's really no point in having them on because I don't know about your PC, but mine is pretty consistent. So it would just take more clutter up top, but things that vary all the time, you know, FPS counter kind of lets you know what's going on down here. If you're having any issues or background issues in your PC, latency, you know, lets you know your server latency and packet loss is important to show you if you're losing packets that you're sending over to the server. But that pretty much sums up all the settings for my game right now. So now we go on to the competitive settings. The average frame rate for me on the benchmark was 177 frames per second. Here's what we want for the quality. Render resolution stays the same at 100, scaling and the sharpness stays the same like I explained. It plays a huge role for how well you can see the enemy. Anti-aliasing, we switch it to SMAAT2X. Quality normal. Textures we keep high just so it keeps the image looking nice and crisp. Texture filtering normal, nearby details low, distant level details low, clutter distance short, particle quality low, particle quality level normal. Bullets and impacts we want on, just to look nicer on the game. Shader quality medium, tessellation all. We could switch to near if you're still getting frame issues, you can switch to near. Terrain memory max, on-demand texture streaming on, texture streaming quality normal, volumetric lighting low, deferred physics quality low, water acoustics, whatever you say it, off, shadow map resolution low, screen space shadows low, spot shadow quality medium, spot cache medium, particle lighting normal, ambient occlusion still off like I explained, it blinds you. Screen space reflections normal, static reflection quality low, water grid volume normal, and then you still want the NVIDIA Reflex low latency on plus boost. And these are always off at 0. Hope the video was helpful for you. Make sure you comment on what you'd like to see next. We'll be making more tutorial videos and SND gameplay and loadouts. And also if you got any questions or you want to see gameplay live, you can check us out at Twitch, JackedZilla.